it back in HFE while you change everything about the Beaver language that I love.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. We are live. As many of you suspected, I indeed had to replace Jesse as co-host, and I thought it would kind of be more entertaining and more like hip if we replaced Jesse with a guitar, kind of more rock and roll. You know what I mean? We're trying to kind of interface with a younger.
Good try.
This is going to be kind of awkward because we live together, but I guess I forgot to let Jessie know that she was replaced by a guitar. Anyway, we'll just roll with it. Hey, Jessie, welcome, co-host partner. Oh, Bibleridian just arrived back. As some of you may be aware, Bibleridian is a YouTube streamer. And
you say this like you know.
I know I don't really know much. Oh, and just a quick, this is an important update. Logan does not have a meeting today. So for those of you keeping track on your scorecard, I think that's 2 in a row. If I'm remembering right.
I can't verify that because does 2 in a row count last week? Was that?
Yeah, there was a very
I don't know.
There was a very low level joke on The Simpsons that it was essentially about how we use language, and it was like you didn't even think about it, but then you thought about it and like, wait a minute, what? And it was I forget what he was talking about, but I think it was Grandpa Simpson who says, you know, I did such and such a thing, or such and such a thing happened on 2 non-consecutive occurrences. And it's like, you know, it's just whatever. But then you think about, wait, there's no such thing as a non-consecutive occurrence.
Why not? If you go to, let's say, trivia every week and you win first place, but you skip a week and you don't win, then you say that you won 2 weeks, but on non-consecutive occurrences.
It was a joke about Grover Cleveland's presidencies.
And it was non-consecutive,
rather. By Grover Cleveland on 2 non-consecutive occurrences. Now I get it. Because Grover Cleveland, I don't know if he was the only one. I think he may have been the only president to have served as president, been voted out, and then served as president again.
And may that remain true.
Yeah. Fingers crossed for the fate of this country and humanity as a whole. Anyway.
Kara says we look flatter.
Wow.
Puff out.
So yeah.
Oh, the winner gets to choose an intermission song. That's amazing.
That's pretty good. I wanted to check something. What did I want to check? I think it was something here. I wanted to check this.
Hello, Jonathan. David's checking something. Jonathan can't stay long today. Maybe Jonathan has the meeting that Patrick and Logan do not. Are we not at the same? What are you trying to fix?
Here, wait. Look at me. That's a problem.
You flipped the cameras last time, remember?
I did, and I didn't flip it back on yours. So for those who either tuned in live last week or who watched a replay, I did something silly. So I set up a new screen because it was all 4 of us on the screen and I wanted us to both be there. We used 2 cameras. But because of how it was working, we were looking opposite directions. And so I flipped them. But what I should have done was I should have duplicated a source rather than use the same one. Because then when I went back to our ordinary source, all the cameras were screwed up.
Well, yours is correct. I see you looking in my direction.
Because I flipped it back. But yours, I did not.
I look like I am very distractedly gazing off camera.
So just a second.
While David talks.
It was not filters, but
That's right, Tethys. Now you claim it's, technically no
Okay.
longer your birthday, but it's your birthday where I live still.
now look
And
at me.
so, happy birthday. This is a command I get from David a lot.
There we
Look
go.
at me.
Okay, so that fixes that. I wonder. Guess we can't do that. I was going to see if I could.
I thought on Discord, Tethys said we had a very short time frame to actually say happy birthday.
Filter.
Was it not Tethys? Am I misremembering? I very quickly read the conversation because there was a lot of conversation that I came back to. And anyway,
Okay, that's.
I don't know what time zone Tethys is in. Based on the conversation that I thought I saw, I thought we were given like an hour and a half from when I checked it to say happy birthday. A noodle place. Nice.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to brighten you up.
Oh, you're going to transparify me. Is that transparencyify?
Okay, now that's.
David's doing things. Oh my God, it looks like I'm in a white light. Oh, I totally misread that conversation then, Tethys. Happy birthday one day late.
Yeah.
Central U.S. time zone.
And then I'm going to see if I can just push this back because I had it just right so that we were about even. Did I mess with this? Like, did I?
I don't know what you messed with. I was busy chit-chatting with our guests while you were messing with things last week. And so I have no idea what happened.
No. It was before that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to, there we go. Now you're about the same size. I'm going to move you there, and I'm going to move this down.
Say the box. I'm waiting for things to catch up on the screen, as we usually are. The beloved gap that we have between what we do on our screens and what you see is really funny as I watch this play out in real time.
There we go. See, that's a little bit better. All right, fantastic. Okay, now, and I learned my lesson, so from now on, if I'm going to do another camera, I'm going to copy it. Anyway, so just a... Oh, 29th. That's cool.
Miles, I did not see that. I was showering 20 minutes ago.
Really?
I don't know if that's going to make a difference on how things go forward, but
Well, that's good.
That is something.
Huh.
I know, right, Danielle? Or in my case, the things I miss while I shower to prepare for a stream. Because what would a stream be if I didn't show up with wet hair, as I very obviously just showered and moved from work to...
You could have said instead that you just like to wet your hair down, throughout the day.
I actually had to go do an errand, and it was pouring down rain, and I am drying off, and it's just really raining every Thursday.
Yeah.
Really.
But speaking of rain, so for those of you who know or don't know, last week we were in England.
Woo!
And what a time we had. So we were able to stream from Jake's place, not just with Jake, but with Bibleridian. And we're also able to see a number of patrons, including Tabby and Ben and Jason. And who am I missing?
Who we hung out with? There was Karis.
So sorry, Karis.
You said Jake, right?
Yeah, I did. Oh, we caught the
Bibleridian.
Yeah, we caught the FA final. Thank you, Jake. That was I have to say, and that was fun. As it is with any sporting event, there's always, a thing if your team is going to win or not. But even beyond that, there is whether or not the game is going to be an interesting or exciting game, because sometimes your team wins and sometimes your team loses. Also, sometimes your team wins or loses and it's just like a 30-point blowout, or if it was soccer, something like a 5-0 result. But then at other times it's like, it comes down to the wire. And this FA Cup final, I think, was quite exciting. It was, in fact, it was kind of funny because Man United was up 2-0, at which point I said, well, I guess it's pretty much over now. And within seconds of me saying that, Man City scored their first goal, cut it to 2-1, and it got very, pretty tense for the last 10 or so minutes. Very exciting match, and it was fun to watch with all those people. But anyway, among other things, though, both of us got to spend a lot of time with Bibleridian, which was a lot of fun and very rewarding. Except that I realized, of course, basically the moment we got on the plane, Bibleridian was just done with us. I sent him a text message to which he has not responded. I also sent him a message on Discord, which he didn't respond to. It was like out of sight, out of mind. He's just completely written us off for the various sins we've committed on LangTime Studio. Anyway, hang on a sec.
Did Bibleridian respond?
Finally. No,
This is how you get a response.
Yeah, actually, though, it's
Tabby, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I'm glad the inside was
so
much more inviting than what we walked up to.
Yeah, so we play tested my board game, and Jake had found a place, one of two places that we could play it. It was the same thing. It was a place called Drafts, but there were two locations. One was at Waterloo and one was just at another place. They were both kind of semi-convenient for London. We chose this one just because it was a little bit closer to the London Eye and London Bridge. We thought, people would be able to get there easier. Anyway, we're walking around trying to find it, and I think it was Karis who's leading us.
I thought Jake was at that point.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Listen, we were following
somebody.
Our group.
Somebody was leading us, and
Jason was already there.
And we're like trying to find, a location, and we're coming to this kind of tunnel, and underneath the Waterloo tube station, and this tunnel appears to be, it doesn't just have some graffiti. It's like it is the place for graffiti. Oh, okay. Whatever.
So yeah, Jake and Karis were helping to lead the way, I believe.
Yeah, and so we were like, this can't be the right place, because as you go into this graffiti tunnel, which is called the Graffiti Tunnel, it becomes clear that no, this is just a place where graffiti artists come and put everything everywhere. And there's some really great artwork, which, it's kind of cool, but also kind of a shame because it's never going to be up there for long.
Yeah.
Eventually somebody's going to spray paint over it.
Yeah.
Which is, the way it's supposed to look. Anyway, it reminded me of the Foot Clan hideout in the live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It looks like a place where just mayhem reigns, and there's loud music going everywhere. Anyway, the Drafts at Waterloo is inside of this tunnel. And it's pretty noisy on the inside.
And I think there's only one other doorway that we passed, right? It's just those, it was Drafts, and then there was something else beside it.
And there was just an open area that was inside. I couldn't even tell what was in there. There was more graffiti in there.
And so it's not like the whole tunnel has buildings. It's you think you're walking into just a tunnel. And then suddenly it's oh wait, there's a door with this inconspicuous sign over the top just saying drafts, which
Yeah.
is really not, I don't know, signifying.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was very interesting. I'm glad we had people leading the way because I probably would have walked by it 3 times.
Yeah. We probably wouldn't have found it. I don't know if Tabby would have found it either. We luckily ran into Tabby. So big thanks to Karis and Jake for actually finding it for us. Anyway, that was good. Got some useful feedback, I think. Or it was just good to see, now that I actually had the full version more or less of the game, where the strengths and weaknesses lie. And yeah, actually, if you were curious, my main takeaway is sometimes too much is too much. So probably going to pull it back a little bit to make it easier to get into it. Anyway, but yeah, truly wonderful trip. Very, very, oh God, I know. Tabby, like you can smell it. That's the thing with the graffiti tunnel. You can smell it. It's just everywhere. Anyway, but yeah, I kind of wish we were still there because
In London?
Yeah, I mean not in London because obviously the weather's better here, but honestly, it's so nice being around good friends, and it's sad to think that we're not going to see them again till they come out to California to visit in, I think, 2 weeks was when they were all coming.
To all of the friends that David just dissed in California, we say hello.
Oh yeah, all my friends from California are of course watching this stream as they always do. Oh, you're right. Where does the time fly?
Yes,
1 week,
yes.
Karis. Good to see you out here. Anyway, so
Hey, we will get Matthijs.
yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh boy, Matthijs Thijs
It's
baby too.
always a good day when you get Matthijs.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I guess we got to do stuff.
I think there's a poll.
Yeah. So I had thought too late about actually.
Oh, that was Jake knocking on the door. We should have answered.
I thought too late about extending the poll a week to see if we get more votes, because this was actually a very tight poll, very contentious poll, and I think it would have benefited by having another week. But I thought if it too late, the poll ended, and you can't extend it at that point. Biblaridian says if time can pass as quickly as it has, then it will be no time at all until we meet again, and that's
Amen.
absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, though, I think all of you would like California because, not because it's just inherently a wonderful place, but because I can sell it in a way that you will love it. I have so many wonderful things here to show you. It's just got absolutely everything, including some top-notch pasties, in case you miss British cuisine. Anyway.
You say top notch, yet I've lived here for 3 years and you've never taken me there.
I know. It just doesn't seem like your type of food, frankly. Yeah, it's not super healthy.
Me making you pot pies and Jamaican beef patties and
Your Jamaican beef patties are way better. Better than any, your Jamaican beef patties are better than any meat pie I've ever had in my entire life.
well, then I guess I don't need the pasties.
Yeah. So by
I
the
know,
way,
right, Jake?
I didn't even tell
Another
Patrick.
trip.
I didn't even tell Patrick that he was in a dream I had last night. Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, I remember I told you that everybody was in my dream. Patrick was in there.
You did say everyone. That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't push further. I was trying to work.
Yeah. No, and honestly, fair play to you. Anyway, so yeah, the poll was contentious. I think it was decided by 1 vote exactly. And I'll just tell you straight off that the option that I thought was really brilliant that Jesse came up with did not win.
I don't even remember what this poll was about.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So
Okay.
let's jump into it since
I didn't bring my notebook over. Should I?
I didn't even open the Beaver document.
Well, you blink out your screen. I remembered to open mine, but
Yeah.
then we can. But yeah, now I'm trying to decide if I should have brought my notebook over.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I write things. Oh my goodness, I am still not on a normal schedule.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse has edited the document.
Sure has. All right. So, anyway.
Oh. Oh my, Patrick.
Wow. Dang,
That's
that is intense.
that's a novel right there.
Yeah, it's like Timequake. When was Timequake written?
I not only don't know, like
That's right. Timequake was written in 1997. Wow, quite prescient. Um,
oh my. Sorry.
oh, spam risk. Um, yeah, Timequake is kind of a wild book written by Slaughterhouse Five, Kurt Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut, and it was written about an event where everybody on Earth re-experiences time from the beginning of time up to the present, and it was like 1997. And at that time in the present, once they get back there, they're just like so shook by the experience that everybody just kind of falls down and doesn't know what to do. And this guy, comes and kind of revives them, tells them to get back into it, that tells them what they did and that they're okay. But it's mainly on the streets of New York City, and it's just like everybody falls down in a stupor, and like doesn't know what to do because of this massive thing that's just happened. That book came out in 1997. Woo. Anyway, so all right.
Apparently, people don't say that word the same as you.
What?
That one.
Present?
No, I think you said prescient. Prescient?
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 Let's take a little jaunt. It's yeah. Is that? Wait, oh shoot! How do you spell it?
I don't.
Is it that?
Isn't it with a C?
It's
SC. Yeah.
To foreknowledge, exhibiting or possessing prescience, right?
But where's the
So
prescient? Prescient.
so
Prescient.
this is British, prescient or prescient.
Ooh, I'm more British. I always thought it was prescient.
Okay, General American is prescient or prescient. So I guess it's not prescient. That's just not even listed as a possible pronunciation. Really? That seems kind of surprising to me.
Oh, is Danielle referencing the episode that I've actually just recently been introduced to, the Inner Light episode?
Let's see.
The one where Picard
Yep.
is in a stupor but goes back in time in his mind and lives a whole life.
Yeah, and then when he comes back, it's hard to like.
It's like 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's right, Jake. I'll just go in and correct it. I don't know. It just seems unlikely to me that it would remain prescient and not prescient, because we just in American English speakers we tend to voice that.
I don't think so. I think that's a reflex from older words, and
Yeah,
the
like-
older ones are the ones that got
Like
voiced. 'Cause
like
that
treasure
was-
and leisure.
because they're older. We've had them in the language.
Your pronunciation is George is possible but dispreferred. And just say prescient. It's not apparently not standard. Prescient or prescient is apparently the standard.
For America.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm getting a call from a wireless caller. Ooh.
Jonathan did not expect to be leaving before we got to the poll. Jonathan, we are here to surprise and amaze you in every way, and thank you for being here. And now that Jonathan has to leave, we can get to the poll results, where apparently my idea that I had forgotten about entirely did not win.
Yeah, Bibleridian just completely upended me, asking me how I pronounce omniscient. never did I have not until this moment recognized the connection between those two words.
It's, there is, that's like when you get on performers who claim they can't pronounce things certain ways, and then you get very upset at them, and here you are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, he
And
definitely
Bibleridian is like, I'm here for that.
he definitely, in the common parlance, got me. I have been gotten.
You've been got.
Yeah, I've been got.
You got.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, also as a reminder,
David's onions are coming home to roost. Patrick, that's perfect.
Yesterday and streaming regularly on Wednesdays is Let's Have a Boobas. That has a new season, so please tune into that. And tomorrow, of course, Tongues and Runes, the Conlangery production. So, anyway, that's your streaming TV guide for the week. And now we are going to get to the poll. Anyway, I just wanted to be sure that, I just wanted to be sure that all concerned know just how wonderful a time we had and how grateful we were to everybody there who came out and made it just such a lovely experience. So thank you so much. So, is it not with your forecast before poll? As a reminder, we had the copula situation. So we kind of handled our verbs. Like we were done with our verbs. But what we didn't talk about is the copula. So we came up with 3 strategies. There were 2 different strategies, basically, and then one that was right in the middle of those 2. So we already have auxiliaries that we were using with verbs to accomplish our various tense aspect combinations. So the first option was just to use those auxiliaries with nouns. We already use them with verbs, and now it's just like, well, if there's no verb, then ta-da, there it is. And so they would have slightly different interpretations. So like, let's pull up the auxiliaries so that we could remind ourselves what they mean. We have the imperfect auxiliary. So when this is used with a verb, it's just, present, future, whatever. But the, not future. Essentially, it's present or past, but ongoing. It's not specified with respect to tense, but it means that the action is ongoing. Then we also have, of course, a perfect auxiliary. That means the action has been completed. We have the habitual auxiliary, which is going to be useful, means that it's done regularly or whatever. And then our last auxiliary is the future auxiliary. That means that something will specifically happen in the future. We also have a negative auxiliary, but this negative auxiliary is going to co-occur with other auxiliaries. And so consequently, we didn't have to worry about negative copular sentences. We were just going to use this strategy. Anyway, so the first strategy is to use those auxiliaries with a noun complement or a noun predicate. And so the imperfect is used with a noun to mean for now. Saleh lanath na. The beaver is a friend for now. However, the habitual one is used to mean for always. So, Saleh lanath sa. The beaver is a friend for always. The perfect is used for a tense that, or kind of a tense aspect that I call the past habitual in High Valyrian. And so it means it did happen for a time and it's no longer the case. So, Saleh lanath be, the beaver used to be a friend. And then, of course, we have the future there, Saleh lanath dama. The beaver will be a friend in the future. And then, of course, it would agree with whatever. All right, so that was A, just using the auxiliaries as copula. C is creating a full copula. Some full copular verb that we would then create that would be used in conjunction with all of our auxiliaries. And so that is a very easy solution. We just come up with something and we just say, this is how it works. And the interpretation is the same. So the temporary, habitual, and so on. The in-between suggestion was one that Jessie came up with.
Did you mention that in the description?
Did I? I didn't. Wait.
That I augmented?
No.
So you just say
no.
I augmented it. Okay.
Yeah.
Patrons,
I did
it's on
mention.
you.
Yeah, I did mention Jessie. Okay. So for this one, we were going to use the first two auxiliaries with nominal complements. And this had to do with where they came from. Because the first two auxiliaries come from intransitive verbs. And then the other two come from transitive verbs. And so we thought that would be a cool place to have a split. So the first two auxiliaries would co-occur with nouns, same meaning. So the beaver is a friend for now, the beaver is a friend for always. But the other two, the perfect and the future, would co-occur with a verb. And that verb would actually be the imperfect auxiliary. Mm-hmm. And so we'd use it, and that would mean the beaver used to be a friend or the beaver will be a friend. This seemed intuitively very attractive because the top two seem like more basic meanings. And then the bottom two, the future and the past habitual, are more complex meanings. And so it made sense that they were a bit more prolix. Turning to our patrons. Option C got no votes. Done. They just didn't want a full copula. Understand that. Then it came down to option A and option B, and I think you already know what the result is.
Yeah.
Again, the winner by one vote was option A, just using the plain auxiliaries.
Okay. Side note, Carl just called me out for yawning. It's going to happen a lot more today, Carl. I am in a mental weird in-between place, and not only jet lag, but work. Woo!
I remember, I can't remember if it was like the second or third ever LangTime chat, our podcast. I yawned a few times, and Jessie called me out for yawning.
Because I was being boring, because I was leading it.
It wasn't boring.
And I was like, David.
It wasn't boring. I was just exhausted.
See, right now I'm yawning because David's boring me. Just kidding. But yeah, no, I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
And so now Carl's calling me out. So it's a 3-year loop. And someday you can call Carl out for yawning to complete the loop. And so we got to do that.
All right. So anyway, here, let's shorten that up so people can see.
Oh, Miles. I'm sending you a hug via the computer. I'm reaching out. As soon as you come to California, I can give you a real hug.
Yeah. Okay. So there's that. All right. So I think it's time to write up the copula section.
Woo!
Yeah, it's not like, by the way, it's not like A was a bad option. I think it's a great option. Yeah. It was just like sometimes, as you're setting up a language, you see something where it's like, wow, based on the logic of this could happen. Mm-hmm. And that was really what Jessie pointed out. And it was such a cool moment. And anyway, so now it's just destroyed, of course. Once again, by our dear patrons who always know best.
Also, congratulations to Narmo for just getting married. Woo!
What?
That's exciting.
Oh my! Well, congratulations, Narmo. I'm reminded of Sue, who just lost on Top Chef, who was also recently married.
Spoiler alert. Some person who shall not be named, who is just married. Yeah. Yes. And now can return to his or her or their spouse.
Yeah. If that even happened. I could have just been making stuff up. Yeah. Anyway, so let's jump back to our copular section, which might be near here.
Oh, goodness. Somewhere in the
Verbs,
verb.
negation, participles, coordination. Was it in the noun section?
The copula?
Yeah.
Why would we have put it in the noun section?
We just didn't put it anywhere. So we got to write it up
We have
in our verb
nominal
section.
predicates work a little differently on page 17 that I've highlighted.
Oh. Well, I guess it's already written up then, isn't it?
Did we write it and then say, wait, we should think about this?
Yeah, I guess. Well, there it is. I suppose we can throw in some examples of negation too, and we might talk about adjectival predicates. Have we done something like that? Did we just have no adjectives in this? I can't remember.
I don't remember doing
I'm gonna hop up and get my water.
adjectives. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
While you're out and about,
Sure
can
thing.
you go get mine's in the kitchen? Because I am drinking my sparkly water at a very fast rate, and I'm going to be out of water.
Mhm.
We do not have any adjectives entered, and our actual adjective section is all the boilerplate. So, as far as I can tell, we have done nothing to talk about if this language has adjectives or what it's going to do. Thank you. Oh, Jake, did you have bubbly water or did you have still water? I'm about to have both because my bubbly water is getting dangerously low. And David just handed me my water bottle, which has still water in it.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, Patrick, I just saw your comment. I'm putting my finger on the screen to receive some energy. That's wonderful.
Jake went back to the chicharrones, which was a mistake.
Yeah.
Usually is.
It's, you know, they are, Miles, I am so happy you enjoy them. We were at, like, I want to say it was a nicer restaurant in that it was nicer than, like, you know, walk-in order at the counter. But not like super nice restaurant, but like you could tell they were trying to present their food as like, they were very hipster. It's the restaurant that we went to with my cousins. And when they served the tacos, there was a fish taco dish, this like plate, and they served it with pork rinds. Homemade, they were house-made pork rinds, so it's like, I guess that's fancier than opening a bag of pork rinds and just dumping them on. But like, I was like, what a weird combination to have fish tacos with a side of pork rinds as like the expected plate of food that you would want. And then like when I tasted it, I was like, yep, tastes like a pork rind. And like for me, eating one is enough. And then I'm good. I'm like, yep, it still tastes like a pork rind. And then I'm done. And so when we had the bag of chicharrones with Jake last week, it was good to get a taste and say, yep, they're still pork rinds.
Yep. Glad they were
I'm
staying
out.
in England.
I'm out. We do have crunchies here, though, because of Jake.
Crunchy, the bar crunchy, yes.
The candy bar.
Yeah. By the way, one of my, silly upscale food experiences was when I took a meeting for my potential reality show that was going to feature me and a team to create languages.
It's because you didn't have me yet.
That's right. God, if I did have you, we would have sold that. Anyway, we went to some like super hipstery, like upscale, deconstructed, blah blah blah
God,
pizza
remember,
place
yeah.
in like Santa Monica. And I didn't order this pizza, but somebody else did. They're like, oh wow, it's like a Coney Island pizza, and you get it, and this thing is like, a basic. It costs like $25, basic small pizza with cheese and tomato sauce like all the rest of their pizzas had, and then it had French fries on them. Sorry ass French fries. And like cut up Oscar Mayer hot dog pieces. And that was the pizza. And it tasted exactly like that. Like little kid hot dogs and like those McDonald's fries like that have been sitting out a while and that like are
Well, I mean, they would have to taste that way if you're putting them on something
yeah.
that's with sauce. And so it's like there's no way to serve them so the French fries still taste good. And Jake, if you were asking where the pork rinds came with the fish tacos, I don't remember the restaurant name. I was somewhere in Long Beach, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing with me.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of this place. Probably a good thing for them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, okay.
Here
So
we
we
go.
will stop talking about weird food combinations and get back to the fact that we do have a nominal predicate section written up. David is
Yeah, I'm just
going to expand the negation section, but I do think we still need to discuss this whole adjective situation. Figure out what we're going to do.
Okay. So there's that. Yeah, let's
You know, as people are talking about fries or chips, you know, the other thing I didn't get while I was in England was any classic fish and chip experiences.
Yeah.
And by classic, I mean I got none at all.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I mentioned it like every time we went out, I was like, "What about fish and chips?" And never once did anyone want to stop with me for some authentic fish and chips.
Yeah, I thought that we were going to be able to get some at the last place I went, which was famous for its pie and mash, but
It was so
they
famous
really,
for pie and mash. It was just pie and mash.
yeah, that was all they had was just pie and mash. Anyway, so yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Oh yeah, Jake,
Another reason to go back.
that would have been nice, but no way was I getting out of the hotel room anywhere near an earlier lunchtime on that trip because I was literally getting up in the morning and working for 5 hours before we did anything every single day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just wasn't going to happen. Next time.
Yeah. I could have sworn that somewhere in here we had an adjectival example.
We did.
Even
we
if
never
it was
used
just in English.
Yeah, we never used the word adjective. So, but what is the sweet example that if you scroll down, the sweet one. What were we doing with these examples that David has on the screen? Do you remember, David?
This is an example of something to do with adjectives.
Right, but what? I've got 4 pairs of scissors on hand. Oh my god, I swear I'm seeing all this for the first time.
It's a bit like Memento.
I have no...
Yeah, but like, look at
Oh my god, I have no idea.
check this out. Right here, see? Noun, partitive, adjective, noun, partitive, article, noun, partitive, adjective, partitive, article.
That is fine. And that's nice
Tall.
that we talked about something. I don't understand the sweet one and where we got it, and my brain is going to be stuck on that.
Okay, so
But yeah, no, so we did start to talk about it in terms of how it would grammatically pattern in noun phrases. We just never actually committed to having full adjective forms.
it feels to me like there is very little difference between nouns and adjectives here. And so adjectives can essentially be treated as nominal predicates.
Maybe that's why we never really discussed it beyond that.
Yeah.
We knew what we were doing.
Yeah, I think so.
When does that happen? And Okay, so Tabby, where should I go for fish and chips when I'm back in England in general? So London is overpriced and not great for fish and chips.
Yeah, I mean, I know a great place in Plymouth, but it's all the way in Plymouth.
Um,
Also, like, to me, it's not like such a delicacy that it really matters where you go. Kind of all the same.
mm. Karis is saying that maybe I mentioned having actual adjectives because none of the other LTS languages do.
Yeah.
Do they not? Do we really? Have we really never made just a straight up, there's a class of adjectives and they're just adjectives, that's all they are? How oft they were nouns, right? I remember Ingala and Wokuthiju were more
Yeah.
verb based.
Like, so here's the thing. Like,
What do we do in Sarkishe?
like if you look at Middle Egyptian, there I think is an argument for saying that there are adjectival predicates and verbal predicates, but essentially they co-occur with the same morphology. They have different meanings, but it's like you can just use adjectives as full predicates. And so, like, really, when you come right down to it, it's just that, well, and verbs can be used the same way adjectives are. It's just like, well, they have different interpretations based on their semantics, which means that ultimately there isn't any kind of syntactic difference or morphological difference between these predicate types. It's just like having classes of verbs, you know.
Um, and Patrick, thank you. The out of the trees, I mean the sweet one. So yeah, that makes more sense. I love though that we thought about that. Of course, the beavers would know which tree is sweeter. They eat them. But I still don't remember the 4 pairs of scissors on hand. Were we bragging about how many scissors we could easily access?
Yeah, take that,
even though
viewers.
I can only count 3 that we could easily access on this floor. I feel like we'd have to go upstairs to access more. And I don't remember if you have a pair of scissors in your office there. I don't actually know if we have.
I don't think I do.
In which case, 3 pairs. So it wasn't about us. Okay, anyway. Oh my gosh, Ragdoll, that's exciting.
Yeah, I have something like that. I got a present for Jesse a couple months ago. It'll be arriving in November.
It's going to be exciting, though. It'll be like an extension of gifts. And thank you again, Patrick. Okay, so it's something about you explaining the metaphors of on hand. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I am now not as confused, even though I don't remember the context with which we came up with these examples.
Yeah. So where I think this is going to be relevant is here, how these adjectives are going to be distinguished. One is if they have a nominal use, a basic nominal use, and if they do, what that use is. 2, if there is how exactly verbs are going to work as modifiers, that is participial usages. That is where we're going to see the distinction. So arguing for a separate class of adjective we would be able to argue for a separate class of adjective if adjectives didn't have a basic nominal use, the way that all nouns do, of course, and if verbal predicates appearing as modifiers could not appear on their own, but needed some sort of ornamentation to serve as a participle. If that was the case, then we could make an argument for a separate lexical class of adjectives. Otherwise, they're going to be like one or the other.
Yeah.
So I think at present, it doesn't matter. It's going to matter when we talk about nominalizing adjectives or when we talk about how we're going to do participles or participle-like constructions for our verbs.
And based on the fact that we've shunted so much onto auxiliaries, it seems like it would make sense that participles of verbs would just be similar-ish to their infinitive forms. They just wouldn't have the auxiliary.
Yeah.
Then again, we could also create a specific derivation that turns a verb into an adjective and it becomes understood as a participial form.
Yeah.
Okay.
For now, I think what we should do is, since we have it here, let's go ahead and come up with a root for tall so that we have some sort of very adjective-like adjective. And talk about either participles or nominalizations and see what happens.
What feels tall?
My friend Ash. He's really tall.
Can we make Ash the root?
I don't think we have a show.
I don't think so either. I don't remember what we have. I'm going to go check.
No.
And it seems like us is not always great.
No.
We could get a voiceless L, which kind of gets Ash-like.
That would come out as ah.
Ah, what's taller than ah? Patrick is saying beanpole.
Ash's middle name is Hale.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a proto H.
His name's Ashley Hale Baker. How about that?
Well, you just announced a whole name for everyone to know on.
I don't mind. How did we get H? It's just post-vocalic, isn't it?
I think with the L, the voiceless L and something else, I think happens.
Yeah. I thought for whatever reason we had a proto-ch and that became an H, but we don't.
So we don't even have a good way to do that.
Yeah.
Unless we did like chlil. Chlil. But can we have a coda if we have a diphthong?
Right, because it has to be a diphthong. Let's do something CVC instead. It's easier to deal with.
Patrick is suggesting
Like
Mott
TAL.
after a mutual friend of Matthijs and Patrick, who is tall and gangly with capital T and G.
Works for me. Do you want it to be a dental T so it comes out as moth, or a regular, an alveolar T which will come out as mott?
We will await for Patrick's verification. I added a whole bunch of different things there.
The genitive of Patrick is Patrice.
Is Patrice's.
No, just Patrice.
Patrick's.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's our capable
brother.
hands. Oh my God, my hands are so not capable today.
Mm-hmm.
David was pointing out to me as he is spell checking a whole lot of my work for me that I do a whole lot of, as Data would say, metathesis in my typing. And not just metathesis, but I think sometimes I just add letters a little bit.
It was orientation that appeared several times.
I add an I. It feels good to type.
It was only that word.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch.
Sure does, Patrick.
It does, Patrick, and that's why when I was working on this particular project, I just turned off the red squiggly lines because I was tired of seeing so many of them. And in my head, I was like, this will make it easier to just type, and then I can go back through after and do a spell check then. Really what it meant is I sent David back through to do a spell check because I messed up.
I was very happy to do it.
A lot of forms. Woo. Okay. So math or mat? I want mat. Let's do mat.
Just a M-A-T?
Yeah.
M-A regular T?
Yeah.
Let's just use Lexergy created by Graham to double check. Yep, mat. All right. I don't know where to put it right now. Maybe I'll put it in this list because we have we've written.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're in a larger font, but
Something that you did to draw our attention to it.
okay. So So yeah, that partitive is going to be occurring with any modification requires the partitive.
Did you just teach your dictionary a new spelling?
Yeah, singulative, but I better do it in lowercase as well. No, okay, it knows it. Good.
It knows the different cases. What it doesn't know usually is plural. So like when I taught at Conlang, it was like confused when I did conlangs in the plural, like,
Yeah.
oh my. And so they marked that as a misspelling. And then it also did not understand that an apostrophe S could be like added. And so conlang apostrophe S was marked as misspelled. And then, of course, then conlang's apostrophe was marked as misspelled. So it's like I effectively had to do all this adding every time.
Yeah. All right. So this is going to, okay, obviously it doesn't agree, so we don't have to worry about that. Placement, we know that. And how modification works, we know that.
Oh, we know lots of things. Do you want to celebrate our knowledge?
Sure. All I can think about right now is fries on a pizza.
Like, give me some caffeine. Give me some coffee candy.
You know what I think would be good? Jake took us to a Uyghur food restaurant, and they had this dish. It was a potato dish, but the potatoes were cut very small and thin to the point where they kind of looked like bean sprouts, maybe even thinner than that, or toothpicks, like kind of like that.
Which dish was that?
It was the potato one.
I came late, so
you might not have recognized it because they didn't look like potatoes, you know.
It was not told to me what I was eating, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like that could work as a pizza topping. Like you just put it on there raw and cook it. Would that be enough time to cook a potato? Or would you need to cook it first?
If it was that thin.
See, that's what I was thinking.
And by that thin, I mean like your toothpick description, because I don't know what you're actually talking about. I imagine they could cook pretty quickly because even like 30 minutes will cook a fry-sized potato in the oven, and that would be thicker. And so I feel like if you did it more shoestring style, you could get away with like 15 minutes, which depending on if you pre-cook your pizza dough, you would only need another 7 minutes or so. But if you didn't pre-cook the pizza dough, the dough could cook for 15 minutes altogether. Anyway, it would take planning, and it really feels like a lot of work just to get potatoes on a pizza, and I don't understand the need for more starch on a starch. For me, I'm like, I want the vegetables and the meat because it like breaks up the starch.
That would be a nice flavor. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
Hopefully this Copico comes with extra caffeine.
Amen. Because I'm trying to refrain from going and like making myself another coffee drink.
Yeah, I could use it.
Cheers.
Copico, when you need a boost to get you through the rest of the 2-hour stream. Right at 3.
An hour. We've been in an hour. We've made it. And I haven't yawned since Carl called me out. Just want to point that out.
Okay, so what do you want to tackle first? Thinking about adjectives if they're going to be used as nouns, and maybe thinking about comparison, or do you want to think about verbal participles?
Yikes. Okay. I feel like my brain blinked out halfway through your first option. Nouns as, adjectives as like predicative sort of things. I feel like you said something else in there.
Participles.
That was the second half. Was there something in between that I missed? Or did I just daydream an in-between zone.
Happy Toothless birthday. Let's just go to participles. I think it'll be a good idea.
What's a Wigan kebab? Bye, Tethys. Happy birthday. Okay. You made that choice. Thank you for making it. And I am looking up
A cigarette of carbs and fat.
what's a cigarette?
It's a structure, an old structure found like in the Middle East. It's like that's Tower of Babel is usually portrayed as a ziggurat of some kind.
Very. Okay. A battered and fried potato slice served in a buttered bread roll with the liquid from the top of a pot of mushy peas without the peas themselves. What? Why is it called a kebab? How does England use the word kebab?
Good question.
Because none of this that I'm seeing looks kebab-like. And now I need to... We have some more British Bake Off to watch. I need to understand this.
Yeah, speaking of which, while we were over there, I didn't have you try any HP sauce. Another British staple. It's kind of similar to A1 sauce, but it's like the Brits swear by it. So like you can't have anything without HP sauce.
This is incredibly interesting. Go back to the comments to see.
Jake's got another thing for you to look up. Sorry.
Oh my goodness, Jake, you just said a whole lot of words in one sentence that a tired brain cannot follow. So I need to Google like 3 things. Okay. Kebabs come in pita bread. When you say kebab to me, I assume you're serving me a skewer of food.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no skewer involved, then I'm like, what's the kebab? You're just serving me grilled food. What? Anything in bread is a kebab.
No, not. If it has bread, it's not a kebab, period.
Means grilled meat and salad in a pita bread. That's a pita sandwich,
That's
isn't
a pita. We're a Euro.
Wow. I'm going to look up the definition of kebab to see. Huh. They have to have 3 different definitions, each labeled British, Australia, and US, because we use them differently.
Huh.
So British indeed is a dish of pieces of meat, fish, or vegetable roasted on a skewer or spit, especially a doner kebab. Australia is a handheld dish consisting of meat and vegetables rolled up into a round piece of unleavened bread. The Australian use must have made it to the UK.
Huh.
And then, of course, 3 is the US, a shish kebab. In chemistry, it's the outward growing portions of a shish kebab structure. But what is that? A crystal structure consisting of a central spine, the shish, and discs or lumps growing out from it. the kebab. Chemistry borrowed shish kebab to talk about this, like, the central spine with lumps growing out from it.
Oh, thanks for letting me know, Logan.
Goodness.
I hope he enjoys it. Yeah, it is he. So I hope he enjoys it. But if he doesn't, you let him know. I understand. It's okay. I won't have my feelings hurt.
My feelings will be hurt, though. I like your book.
It's really nice of you, since it will no longer be necessary once your book comes out.
So not true. Yours is way more fun. Okay. I am now absolutely...
All right.
sidetracked by this whole shish kebab thing. Okay. Also, apparently in the UK.
I think with UK usage, every single word that they have ultimately comes down to meaning something like that, or an insult, or something else in that category.
Making everything vulgar. Oh, you UK. Also interesting, though, is that apparently some people in the graphical user interface world use kebab to mean that menu icon with the 3 vertical dots or lines. Dots probably specifically for a kebab.
That's funny.
Whereas I think of that as the hamburger menu.
I've heard that too. I also find it funny. I had no word for it at all. All right.
It's also apparently called a bento menu. So there you have it. And yes, Jake, you're right. I do know I love you all.
Huh. Connery has George has a distinction.
So for me, it's more about like the hamburger menu referred to the 3 lines, and then it's like sometimes they're dots. It's the same concept. So now to me, it means any icon that means a stacked menu. It's the stacking that matters. And so I would never, if someone told me to look at the kebab menu, I would have been like, what? Or just straight up, pull up the kebab. Click on the kebab. I would not have known. You're right, Jake. If anyone wants a signed copy of David's book, go to Foyles at Charing Cross. Or is it Charing?
I think it's Charing. But yeah, you're right. I was supposed to mention that because it's nice when people know. Yeah, I signed one. I signed the copy they had. They can't return it now. No, I really signed it. Jake was there and witnessed it. Actually, that would have been fun if Jake. I should have had you like sign it as well, like as if you were notarizing it. Be like, yes,
Officially witnessed by.
Yes. Oh, why didn't I do that? You know, it was because it was a time crunch.
By the representative of England.
Yeah. Yeah, we could have had fun with it, but the thing is, yeah, we were in a serious time crunch because we needed to get to drafts, because otherwise, oh my God, that bookstore, like,
it was so good.
Karis, you're absolutely right. We could have spent like 6 hours there. It was incredible, even better than that Waterstones we went to.
Like I had to mentally put blinders on my eyes.
Yep.
And then when Karis mentioned I just missed the cookbook section, I was like, oh my God, yeah. I gotta go. I gotta leave now. Otherwise, game night never would have happened, and Jason would have been waiting there alone. Tabby would have been waiting outside alone, and I would be still in the cookbook section right now.
I'll tell you this, even though it wasn't you that did it. I enjoy seeing copies of my book that have clearly been well worn. It means that somebody was actually reading them and using them. So I don't mind it myself, even though it's nice to see them, nice and new as well.
That's why I got 2 copies of your book. One that I use for class notes, so I'd highlight and mark in it, and the other one is pristine. The one you signed is the one that was kept pristine. I was like, I'm not gonna put my class notes all over that.
Do we have an example of a transitive clause? I know that we do.
We do, but Jake, that means you need to go to Foyles and buy that signed copy. Then David will have signed your book. I'm going through.
Beaver's chewing the grass. Here we go. Sale odas ing thunthu na.
Jake just snarked. You're gonna love it.
Huh. Well
nice,
done.
Patrick. Whew. So for those...
Jake, have I never signed your book?
No, that's what Jake was talking about.
Gosh, I'm so sorry.
But for those... Well, that's obviously Jake didn't travel with it to the U.S. when they visited us first for the 4-hour layover.
Yeah.
And then later for CopuCon.
Well, I will make sure that we meet again, in person, so I can do that.
But also, Jake is referring to a story where someone came up to him, to David.
Yeah, at LCC 5.
And they were like, hey, will you sign this copy of a book written by someone else entirely? I mean, what's a person to do? So David signed it, but it's like this book was written by someone else. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see it up in your room. I was so taken in by all the other books. I should have paid attention. I could have been like, hey, sign this book.
Miles, I don't think it makes sense for this language based on the way that it's been coming together. What is it that's vibrating?
That thingy underneath the table that holds it. This thingy.
Yeah, okay.
So if you could just type less viciously.
And then this will be the grass is chewed. And this will be chewed grass because we haven't talked about passivization yet.
Right.
I'll be right back.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm going to do.
Get a giant roll of tape.
Uh-huh.
At the very least, I have some masking tape, I think. We could do that. That usually doesn't leave as much sticky residue.
Where do you think that masking tape is?
Second drawer of... You know what? Never mind. I'll look for it because it may be buried underneath rubber bands and...
I think I'm just going to use this. I'm going to need a little reward after I finish this.
Get ready, everyone. The table is about to get taped.
Okay, right there.
Do you see it?
I see it.
Oh yeah, right there, this little guy. And this, so for all of you who are wondering, our table is one of those tables that you can put, like a leaf into to expand it. But without it, the chairs that we have to go with the table wouldn't fit around the table. And we have no place to put the chairs in a holding zone. So we just permanently have our table to its expanded state, which allows us to sit 6 people. And because of that, the little hooks, these latches underneath the table that when you don't have the leaf actually connect and latch the table together. When you do have the leaf, they apparently don't care about whether the leaf is held in tightly or in place. And there's no latch. Like there's nothing to latch it to. So you've just got like these little metal things that hang down. And David is a very aggressive typer. He attacks his keyboard, which I think you have heard, and you know from the listening in that he very much attacks it. And the mouse clicks; those are the most aggressive. Do you remember that first time you heard yourself clicking a mouse, and you were like, "What is that?" It was like, "That's you on the mouse." But anyway, so he just taped that latch to the table, and now he's rewarding himself with a sentence that he will tell you what it means because he remembers his jelly bean grammar.
It doesn't have it's not the right combination of jelly beans.
Yeah, Patrick heard. He heard himself, not hurt.
Oh yeah, we know about Bramley Hedge, Tabby. Or at least I know about Bramley Hedge. You know about Bramley Hedge?
I don't know about it except the fact that I bought a notebook that's Bramley Hedge.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very excited because I liked the design of the notebook. Is that like a thing? Oh, well, that's delightful. I own a notebook that is Bramley Hedge and has a cute little mouse on it.
It's just amazing.
Well, how fun. Well, I love that Savala reminds you of this.
Mm-hmm. What? Really?
How delightful.
I did not know that, Tabby. My goodness.
Okay.
All right. So here we are.
Oh, let me join you.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead and talk. Sorry, I was just scrolling down.
We don't have any passives yet. Do we want to talk about that?
I mean, we should if we're going to talk about the participle that may or may not be passivized.
Because my thought is that...
You just copied a sentence. I was like, why do we have passive clearly right here?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a handful of those when you reach back in.
Just anything?
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, I love you.
Like 3 root beers. Do you want the root beers back?
Do you not want them?
Well, you like them so much. I'm good with this little handful.
Mm.
Okay. So Sale Puana is just the beaver is sleeping. Okay. So Ola sing Thuthuna. We've got the verb, we've got an auxiliary. Ing marks the direct object. What makes sense in a construction where now the direct object is the subject? I feel like a different auxiliary would be needed.
There are a couple of routes that we could go down. One is, yes, a different auxiliary. And if we just hit upon one that we loved, I mean, it would be easy. Mm-hmm. We just slot it right in. It would go in between the content. It would go in between the tense auxiliary and the negative auxiliary in a negative passive, for example. That would be easy enough. Another thing that we could do is say that verbs are different from adjectives and come up with some sort of a stative derivation in the same way that you can use adjectives as kind of nominal predicates or whatever, or adjectival predicates just with the auxiliaries. We'd be able to use this passive form with it as well. And so that would be leaning more into derivation and away from syntax. In other words, we'd be, instead of operating with more isolation, more auxiliaries. We'd be having words that have more inflections and fewer auxiliaries. We could also, wait a minute. I think we already did this, didn't we? Shoot. We did already do this. Or was that not this language? I could have sworn that we already did this.
What's this referred to, Ben?
Didn't we say that there was going to be a third person singular pronoun that when it was used, it would just be passive? Or was that a different language that we were working on?
I think that would be passive. Or, sorry, that would be different. I had a different article pulled up that I wanted to read.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing.
Here, I'm going to open something on your computer since I can't open it on mine.
Although that's interesting.
Huh.
If you're referring to the guilty, we had talked about that at the very beginning.
You're talking to a patron, right? Not to me.
Yeah, sorry. That's what Conlingery, I think, is mentioning the same thing Miles had already said.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's the only thing I see. What are you opening?
I'm opening this.
Oh. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Different language. Okay, so back to it. We hadn't just figured out passive for this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to imagine. It's slowly coming together. It's very slowly coming together in my head. Oh, it's actually quite similar to what we do in English. I thought this was going to be unique, and now I'm like, God, that's what we already do. Less interesting, but still could work. A verb meaning, like, I was thinking to take or to receive, which you could also say to get. And what do you know, in English, the grass got chewed. It gets it. But an auxiliary based on that idea of like you're receiving the verb.
Yeah. That is something we could do, and we'd have to decide how old it was, because it might be the case that the content verb would co-occur with the primary object marker.
With the ing.
Yeah. I hate to say this. This might have to be the poll.
But then if we do that, we're definitely opening up the zero derivation door,
which we may have already had for verbs.
Okay.
I don't remember, because we have this infinitive form, and there isn't. And I think it was understood that infinitive form was kind of nominal.
The infinitive.
Yeah, I know what I said.
I love it.
Okay. So I'm going to start.
Taking some notes. Yeah, it's about time we start talking about the poll anyway. We are far in, and you know.
Okay.
Passive auxiliary. We can get gotten.
Okay.
Karis is saying Vietnamese does something kind of similar.
Yeah.
Potentially, if you remember correctly.
Så lägger das. Oh.
What's that?
Hold on.
Okay.
Das.
Well, Jake, obviously that means that the two languages must be related and that they go back in history to the same source based on this one word, that there's no way that this could be a coincidence. However, speaking of coincidences, David and I kind of went down a fun little rabbit hole of etymology for Ruislip, which is an area of London.
Oh, yeah.
And the name goes back to Germanic elements. And the first one meant rush, like the kind of plants that you see among riverbanks. And the second one meant leap, so like leaping rushes. Now, why it was called that, it doesn't matter. The important thing is rice, as the component at the beginning, is now spelled R-U-I-S in the place name and pronounced rice, which of course I mispronounced until I heard Biblaridian say it out loud. And then just yesterday, I happened to be reading about Finnish bread, and one of their, famous breads is risleipä, which is spelled the same way, R-U-I-S. And it's rye bread. And I suddenly was like running into David, like, oh my God, do you think Ruislip really means rye bread? And that like a Finnish community founded it or something? So we started digging in because this seemed like a very odd coincidence. And it became even odder because Ruis, meaning rye, Ruis, let me get my R, was actually borrowed from a Germanic language into Finnish, but it meant rye going pretty much all the way back to its like Proto-Indo-European, I just said that.
Yep.
Proto-Indo-European roots, like traced all the way back, it means rye or something similar. It is just a coincidence that we have rye in English, and then this word rush, which came out as rice in the place name because it's older than the sound changes that affected the rest of our everyday English. It's just a coincidence. They are not at all related, even though they are both things that grow with the general shape that kind of are reminiscent of each other. And so anyway, it was a fun little thing to explore and find out that it had nothing to do with the other. Yeah, those Indo-European languages. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, Karis actually noticed I said Ruislip correctly and was impressed. Yeah, that's thanks to Biblaridian. When I first said it to Biblaridian, I promise you it did not come out right. And being as wonderfully kind as Biblaridian is, he just kind of answered in a response that corrected the pronunciation without ever once mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't really let the confusion show on his face when I'm sure he was trying to figure out what the heck I was talking about. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, yes, I had a friend who lived in Ruislip. And I was like, what? You pronounce it Ruislip.
I have to say, whatever happens internally with Biblaridian, something that we don't know what happens internally with an individual. Outwardly, Biblaridian is unflappable.
Mm-hmm.
Very definition of unflappable. Truly extraordinary.
Didn't even laugh at a single one of David's dad jokes. Oh, goodness. Such a good presence Biblaridian has.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Miles, are you trying to catch me in some sort of pronunciation gaffe? Like a bird with no wings. Because, I look at that and I'd say islip. Is it ilip?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Well, so apparently Ruislip as a sort of manor worthy estate goes all the way back to the Domesday Book. And it was valued at something like £12 at the time, all of the land in the estate. And so that whole area, way back in the, God, what was that, 1200s? Or was that 13? I think it was 1200, 1100s? Oh my God, I'm losing my timeline of the history of the English language. How embarrassing. I used to know this right offhand. Anyway, way back when, it's like £12. You could have bought that whole part of London.
Mm-hmm. So we can, if we do this, we can absolutely get a passive, but we're going to be stuck.
11th century. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karis and Tabby. Okay, go on.
Well, we're going to be in the same position we're in right now, which is that we still won't know how to do participles, and we'll have to figure something out. It may be the case that we can't even do a passive participle. So I would really like us to try to come up with an option where we create a passive participle and then it gets treated like an adjectival predicate for patrons to consider.
Okay.
Which puts us in the same boat of having to essentially just come up with participial strategies.
Right.
Is that something we can go to the World Lexicon of Grammaticalization for?
Would you like me to go grab it?
Mm-hmm. Or
Was that a yes or? Well, do you want the old version, or do you want the new one?
you could also open it in books.
Well, do you want me to open on my computer so you're not opening things on your computer?
Sure.
But also I could go get the second edition.
You don't have the second edition just as a PDF on your computer? Because I do.
The first edition is what you can freely get online
Oh.
from the authors themselves. Now, what you have, I will not pretend to judge.
Dang. The second time I got.
Okay, so we're looking for passive.
You can just search in there, participle.
Yeah, but we're going to get a lot of hits.
I don't think we're going to get that many.
Okay.
I mean, that's not... Yeah, there we go. Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. Wait, go back.
This one that you just said no?
Tamil tanto cross, verb of motion. No, that is a part. Okay.
That is the participle.
Yeah. Okay. No. Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm.
If that is a participle, though, doesn't that mean that
No, that's...
leave and cross turn it into a participle?
Uh-uh.
Okay. You already said no to that one, sorry.
Mm-mm. No. No. No.
I think that's all they're pulling up.
That's it. They don't have anything.
If you want to pull open the newer edition that you have on your computer, you can. Otherwise, it's in my office. I can.
I say go grab it. Oh, we'll just try to be safe.
Oh my goodness.
Have we done any? I don't think we've done any affixation in this language at all.
No, we've done particles and whatnot. The closest is our auxiliaries, are forms that came together. Like the shape of our auxiliaries indicate that at one point they would have been affixed or compounded, I guess, but are no longer.
See, because what I want to avoid having to do is just repeat the entire structure as some sort of a modifier. because I don't think that's going to work. We're not that isolating.
Well,
I have
they
an idea.
do have a lot of passive. They do not have like an entry for like the target is creating a participle.
Hmm.
However, they do have 14 different sources that lead to a passive. If that interests you. Otherwise, I think we're going to come up against the same kind of thing.
I do have an idea, and this may...
Oh, this is the language index. That's not going to help me.
I have an idea, and this may lead us towards declaring adjectives their own thing. Essentially, I have an idea to create a derivation that is that will give us an agentive noun and a patientive noun, and then to use that as a modifier.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I was trying to catch up with chat as well.
Yeah.
As David kind of fleshes out this idea in his head.
It's basically, it's going to come from two nouns. One of them is probably going to be beaver, and then the other one, or it could be mouth, but I think beaver is better. And then the other one is going to come from a branch or something like that. Basically, something that is chewed. And so the association between the two things would be like if you're applying the branch thing to this, it's saying it's like a branch. And so if it's like a branch, then it gets chewed. In other words, something happens to it. On the other hand, if it's a beaver, then it's like a beaver, and the beaver does the chewing.
Okay.
And right now, the order of things is confusing me a little bit, so I just want to write these ideas down.
Yeah, please do.
Beaver becomes agentive. Derivation. Stick branch becomes patientive. Okay. Beaver in the protoform is salai, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
And then do we have anything for sticker branch?
I thought we did. Oh yeah, the article.
Key. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do that.
Good night, Sissa Languagist. And also for anyone who wants to see the book, this is the second edition. It is thicker. I think we discovered by like a solid 100 or 200 pages than the first edition.
Massive.
Of the World Lexicon of Grammaticalization. And they added a bunch of participating authors / editors. And so it is much larger, and oftentimes while I'm working, I actually prefer the paper edition because I like flipping through. Here you go, just for Patrick, the backside of it. There you go, and also the spine because I know that's important for Patrick. You may think of it as the skewer of the shish kebab. It's the spine from which mounds of knowledge grow, like the kebab. Yeah, it is a hefty tome, to be correct. Oh. Yeah, those are really, really close. Okay, we only have that in there.
All right, now let me go back to the logic of our original conception. Grass of stick. Grass Use of mouth. Modifiers definitely follow the things that they modify, right? That's something we decided, yeah.
It is very difficult because that is from the beginning stages before we actually made the partitive and before we actually ordered these things. And so we do say it's a head final language. So
we do say it's a head final language. However, we do have noun
adjective.
Yeah, a noun determiner. Okay.
Is it noun adjective because we had decided it would be partitive on the noun for the modifier? Of the sticks, the toe one.
Yeah, of the sticks, the toe one.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and what is the partitive form? Is it's like a UL, right?
Yeah. I think its protoform is U voiceless L. But it turns everything into a U.
So I don't necessarily love that.
Yeah, it's U voiceless L.
Because it means that these things should be suffixes, which means that this thing, which is going to be a suffix, would be key, which could be followed by key.
You don't want kiki.
And I certainly don't want double kiki. I'm okay with say. Something else that's chewed. So we have key. Oh, on the other hand, let's have a kiki. That's right.
Indeed. Wait, we had...
I guess it could be cute.
David's typing up the weirdest poll. A simple yes, no. And we're not asking about Kiki Palmer. We're asking about word key followed by key.
They changed the format of polls.
They sure did. It makes it stand out more, that's for sure. It's very bright.
Sure is.
But again, makes it stand out more, so I guess that's good.
Yeah,
well, that is true, Magpie.
And yeah, I really invite you to voice your opinions.
About half of you have on the cuteness factor.
Yeah. Because
the people outside find it adorable.
Like we could have a separate word for branch, I guess. That's just stick.
What would this be every time it's used? Or is this just like when it occurs in X thing, key could follow a form that happens to end in key?
It would just happen to, and it wouldn't happen all the time.
Okay, so it's not like every single time you use a participle or something.
No,
it would be kiki.
No, it would only be the singulative.
Okay.
So yeah, most of the time, it wouldn't be showing up like that. Wait.
And that singulative is something that gets smushed together, right, with other...
No, not just that, but anytime you use the singulative article, the noun that it's associated with has to be in the partitive. So actually, you would never get the sequence kiki. It would be ki.
Kiki?
Yeah, you could get kiki. but you'd never get Kiki.
Okay, well, now the poll
and Kiki.
is apparently just out of date because it's not even
Yep.
Kiki.
It's only Kiki or Kiki.
Kiki. Everybody likes a cookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could go for a cookie right now.
You want Kiki?
I do want cookie.
I'll take another one of these little pink ones.
They're creepy and they're cookie. Oh my god.
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it.
David's going against his instincts and getting kiki.
And so then this is going to be a say suffix, and this is going to be a key suffix. We don't have any voicing, right?
Oh, Patrick, I understand that problem. Voicing of things that, like in the sound changes?
Yeah.
That's a wonderful question, David. I'm going to say no.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, we don't have any intervocalic anything.
We do have intervoicical voicing, but it only affects the voiceless sonorants.
Yeah.
Frequicatives change their voicing to match the consonants they're next to. It seems to be just sibilants and frequicatives and whatnot.
All right. Okay. So this might be something that we do anyway. But let's do option C. Passive participle. And then this will be agentive / active participle. And then this would be shentive. Okay, the beaver is chewing the grass. The beaver is a less key. The grass is being chewed. And then grass. It's a chewed thing.
Okay.
So in one manner of speaking, like this kind of solves it, and we could move on if we were going to do this. But I could see these being separate. That is, I'm at the moment I am comfortable with A or B winning and still doing this.
For passive participle in general, just for like the chewed grass is on the floor. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think then what this means is that adjectives are going to be, they're not going to be the same as verbs, that's for sure. Then the next question is, are they going to be the same as nouns, or are they going to be a distinct thing? But I think this effectively solves that question, or answers that question. They're not the same as verbs. So there we are. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yay! I am too. I think this will be a good thing to vote on. This will be really nice. I am.
This ring's been upside down the whole time.
Oh, how embarrassing!
What a day.
David's ring was upside down. One of them, anyway. Now I need to check the other ones, make sure he's not walking around all upside down. He's upside downsy. I am curious
Mm-hmm.
about whether we have entered. We have entered. Okay, we've entered a couple verbs into the dictionary. Wow, I don't remember what the E and R are for. That's just for, we don't use those very often,
That's
right?
a first person. It's a conjugation. And yeah, those are only for the subjunctive.
Because that's the only time the auxiliary wouldn't. Oh, wow. Those are very rare forms.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just asking because we have 8 minutes to kill and we do have a list of words.
I have a project for us to consider. I think that we potentially have enough material that we can name this language.
David hates this in between time when we start working on something and we don't have the actual language name. And so the file name doesn't match
Mm-hmm.
the name. And I think it makes him a little bit antsy to have something with just like LangTime throughout or
Mm-hmm.
Beaver Lang or whatever. There is no name for the Beaver language. It's the Now we had talked about, we had come up with some ideas. The standing ones we had said could be the nation of beavers or the beaver speakers, and so we could have some language name kind of related.
Oh, and now we can say the standing ones.
Do we have the verb to stand?
No, so we can create that, but that's just a matter of creating a root. But if we're happy with say, then it's just going to be something. The ones that are standing is say.
So, I mean, we do have these forms already here that we haven't used yet, which is why they're all big.
Oh,
If you like any of these,
here
if you don't like them, we can.
let's have a quick reminder. Engala tepahla woku fiji sarkeje hauhof. See, we don't have anything that begins with an F or with a K or with an N or an M.
L. We could get
L.
Litsase.
I don't like Litsase.
Yeah, but we could change the middle part. We could change the middle part.
Tepahla and tapase. Tapase. Huva? No, yeah, that's an H.
What about the K? Kuvmese.
Kuvma.
Okay, let me go up to the top here. What about something that starts with a V?
Okay, I like that. I'm actually gonna write up a little poll.
And we're just adding say to the end?
Yeah. So bear in mind, and it's gonna take the stress. So
What do you think about something like vonase or vongase or volase? Or V. We don't have any E. V. Vivase. Vimase.
could be vise.
Vise.
Yeah, let's see here. If I hit, no. Yeah, V.
Oh. Acronym witches. What the fox could be.
Yeah, anybody else throwing out some ideas there?
Okay. Peak sassy sounds like peak sassy. It does. Okay. We didn't have any.
I'm okay with peak sassy. It's a little sassa, but you know. Oh wow, Vise actually takes the stress, really? Is that right? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. How does the stress work in this language?
Something like moase or mu.
Primary stress is assigned to the last syllable unless the penultimate syllable is heavy and the final syllable is light. So yeah, I guess it just depends when the stress happens. I assume that say would be counted as heavy. So, but it certainly would be light in the modern, but no, V say. Okay.
Mudase.
Pixase. Huh. Dialect. Get it?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Error. Segment M doesn't fit the syllable structure. Oh, there's no R. Our language doesn't have an R.
Well, I had actually said D originally, so.
Oh.
But we could also make it a dental D.
Mudase?
Yeah. We also don't have any N. Nukse?
No.
Nu.
Thinking num, like a chew,
Num.
like a chewing.
Namse? Namaste? Could also get Nuli say, close to Nulitis. They could have some fun with the rabbits.
Oh my gosh. So that would come out as nampse or nampse.
Okay.
I kind of like Nulise. I like nampse.
Okay.
And I like Nulise. King, let's find. Oh, King Say comes out as Kink Say.
Little kinksy.
Yeah, I don't like that.
What does like Keith say or
Keith Say?
so we actually have a theta in the protoform. What happens to a theta?
Keith Say? Same thing.
Okay, so same thing.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right, V Say,
Oh, it did.
Namp Say, Nuli Say, Keith Say.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Patrick had suggested Neek say.
Neek Say. Oh, goodness.
Neek say.
Not for. Neek Say is a very cool sounding name, but I wouldn't do something starting with NG for the game.
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
Could have been keepsay. Keepsy. What, oh, did you?
This is just the standing one.
Oh, well, what will the root of the standing ones, which will give us the root of the name of the language,
Yeah.
be?
We must summon Biblaridian. We need his sage guidance.
We could actually put it in the partitive and just let it be of the standing ones.
What happens to E in the partitive?
I'm going to guess
E?
E is my guess, but
So that
I could be
happens.
wrong.
I have two languages that end in E.
Kith and kin.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, we have our votes and we have a three-way tie, David. Namse, Nulisü, and Keithse.
That's all right. Biblaridian is going to come and break the tie. He's been summoned.
And I hate to wave a wand over it, but just as a reminder, Biblaridian, Nulitis is a word in Ingala. Nulisü evokes it. And don't we all want a delicious Nulitis or a Nulisü, which could be a Nulisü? I am hungry. We're 3 minutes past. I've been waiting to like really chomp down on food because that's really annoying to just be eating on camera. Am I right?
Oh, look at this. Biblaridian says definitely Namse.
Well, if you want to end the poll, I guess it's over.
I mean...
Oh, but someone just voted for Nulisü. Someone signed into their alt account and said, "Here we have it."
I'm sorry. We have to go. I have to please my Jessie.
Oh. Yes, Jake. Oh, and that was beautiful. Jake is I'm happy to report to anyone who follows along on Discord with the Nulitis channel. I am happy to report that Jake's cooking tastes as good as it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are definitely times that dishes just look pretty and the pictures look amazing, but then you take a bite and you're like, it looks good. But I am happy to tell you all that you are missing out on Jake's food. Because it was good. That was so good. And so now it's Nulisü, or the beavers.
Yeah. So just
The standing one.
let's say those. Okay.
Jake's available for pre-bookings for cooking Nulitis.
And then, would it definitely be Nulisü?
So inalienable possession is marked by placing the possessor in the partitive. The possessee. I read that wrong. But that's the possessor. Am I wrong? Salut is beaver partitive, thaki tooth.
Yes. Neely, was it she by inflecting the possessee?
And placing it before the possessor. The tooth of the beaver. I think we have possessee and possessor backwards in our little description here. That is sure not what we did, because it's like Meni is child and Salut is of the beaver.
Yeah, that's...
And so what I was suggesting was effectively, and I've recently named a language in this very way, is effectively just saying of the beavers, where it's just understood that it's language. Like it could be a shortening from whenever we do get a word for language or tongue or whatever. That would be the full official name, but it's just referred to as of the standing ones. And so in this case, Nulisü is, I think, the correct partitive form.
All right. And
Is it that it's possessee and that feels weird? Possessed is a weird way of saying it, but it's the thing being possessed anyway. Anyway, to all you saying goodbye, stay grammar, goodbye. Don't forget about Tongues and Runes tomorrow. And let's have a booba next Wednesday, and so on. And David is doing the official, so I'm going to actually close out the Beaver document so that way you can do all the real official stuff. So I'm not accidentally in the way there. And thank you, Patrick. We appreciate it. Now David is showing on screen. As soon as I see that go live, I will cut the feed. Here we go. Nulisü is our Beaver language. Yay! Thank you all for sticking around. Stay Nulisü, exactly. And we will see you next week. If you're a patron, we may see you this Saturday as we do our air quote May patron live stream on June 1st. And we will see you then. Bye.